Morning again. I'm back. I'm back. Hello. All right, so now we're going to do the coffee carafe, cafeteria. How do people say it? I can never say it. And possibly the teacup as well. So with this one, we're going to kind of do a mix of the backstitch, a little bit of whip backstitch, and possibly even some filling stitches. And for this one as well, I know a lot of them are this like gray color, so you might want to do a gray for the parts that are meant to be like metal, because actually these are normally like a metal color, like a stainless steel. So a gray would be great for that. I have Anchor 849, and then I also have the black. So I'm just trying to decide which parts I want to be black. I know a mokapot. I like that. Yeah, and it's way easier to say. So I know initially in the ones that I've seen, the handles here are black. Sometimes there's like a black ring like around here that's filled in, and then this part here is also black. So we'll just see. I'm still a little bit undecided because part of me really wants to do the whole thing in black, just like the teapot, so that when they hang on my wall, they can be next to each other, like kind of the same. And that's kind of the same vibe I have with the whole Stitchalong from last year, which was the ladies in the garden, and then this is the free one where we drew our own. So they kind of go together because they both have the same one colors and two general vibe. Hi, George. Meaning that they're silhouettes of the ladies and they're just black outlined. So I think I might go with that same idea for this one, so that when they hang up next to each other, they're the same, you know? Hannah says, I love the gray though. I know. See, that's my problem. But this is definitely something you can always add to later. So if you ever want to fill it in, or if you want to, do something a little bit different, then of course you can. What kind of fabric do you use? Is it like a standard cotton? It is cotton. I would definitely go watch the prep video because they talk all about fabrics and materials in general there. Okay, so, oh crap. I'm going to do all black. I'm going to do all the black, and I'm going to do 4 strands just like the teapot. I think the gray would still be neutral enough to match. I know, and that's why I ordered this one as well, because I feel like it's such a nice, do you know what I mean? And it like looks like the item, if that makes sense. So it would be like the black on the top and the black for the handle. Shall I just do it in gray? And if I hate it, I can just take it out. How about that? Okay, so as I said before, we've got the not three strands. It's 3 pulls out of your skein of thread. So yeah, it's a good like starting length to start with. And I'm going to do 4 strands, just the same as before. It's the same size hoop. These are both 8-inch hoops. So you kind of want to have a nice like heavy weight to it without being, too thick, but also not too thin either. I know in the first video I talked about putting the thread on the needle and all the different lengths of thread, etc., etc. So I would definitely go back and watch like the first 10 minutes of that video if you want to know any of that, only because then I don't have to repeat like exactly the same thing. I will show all the different strands though. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the threads that we get from Anchor. They all have 6 strands, and they're kind of twisted together, you can see, to make one big one. If you use them, the more you use them, the more kind of untwisted they'll get, if that makes sense. So yeah, so it's always a little bit of a, how thick of a line do I have? How big of an area do I have? How bold of a line do I want? All of these things, you know, contribute to how many strands you should use. So I've got my 4 here, and I think we're going to use a mixture of just a regular straight stitch and a back stitch. Sorry, a whipped back stitch. Now I want coffee, BRB. So for these long ones, I really like using just one long straight stitch. Yeah. And that's because I know I will get a straight line. Now what you could do is break this up into 3 or 4 different stitches, but then you always kind of get it could go a little bit wobbly, especially if you didn't trace it properly to start with. So that's always a little bit of a, you know, concern. But again, if you don't like the look of it, you can always do a whipped back stitch for the entire thing. Sometimes it looks a little bit different because some of them are really, really straight. What is that? And then some of them have just this one line. So again, that's something that you could like the look of, and you could decide I don't want that later. What else? I'm trying to think of any other kind of like tips and tricks. Oh, the other thing is, if you try something and you don't like it, then just take it out, because what's going to happen is you're always going to look at that and be like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. So if you already know that you don't like it, then just take it out and do it a different way. And you'll see that I do that myself as well, that I might put these straight lines in and then decide, actually, no, that's not happening. So yeah, and that's just part of learning, you know? So here we go. I'm going to start here and do a little outline. And what I'm going to do, my intention is to do the whipped back stitch. So the first thing we have to do is a regular back stitch. Let's zoom in. And the regular back stitch, I've already done my knot and I've made 1 stitch forward. And I'm going to go another stitch forward and go back down the same hole that I've just gone up. No, stop that right now. We're not having that. Evening, Jennifer. Guys, I love it when your friends come in and you're like, oh, hey, how are you? And you have like a little chat in the comments. It's like so cute. Okay, so we're going to continue. What I forgot to tell you is make sure that your hoops are nice and tight. So you want to make sure that all your fabric is nice and tight, and there's no sagging bits of fabric. I always like to give it a couple turns at the top before I even get started, just to make sure. Because the very worst thing that happens is when you start stitching and you realize, S-H-I-T, I have a problem. Yes, I did spell it, because some people are doing this with their children. So trying to be a little bit sensitive for little ears. Okay, so here we have our first line. And then what you're going to do is go back up again. Now this is going to give an even thicker line. So I probably should have used less threads, but we'll see how it looks. And you're going to slide your needle up underneath. So we're not going through the fabric at all. If you look on the back, it's just a back stitch and you can't actually see the needle because we're not going through the fabric. We're just sliding our needle up through each of the stitches. Now, it doesn't matter if you go up or if you go down. I'm actually going to go down because I don't want to deal with this thing. So it doesn't matter which way you go. You just have to go the same way the whole time, or else you'll get a curvy line and it won't be a smooth line. So you're gonna go down this one and then again down this one. And all this is doing is covering up all of these individual stitches. And because I'm using gray as well, you can see here, let me zoom in again. Guys, I got this new phone stand. Why didn't I buy this ages ago? Like, it doesn't like give you whiplash every time I touch it. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual stitches here. And all this does is it wraps the stitches so you see a nice smooth line instead of each individual stitch. It's the whipped back stitch. So I'm using 4 strands like I said earlier. I almost feel like you could probably get away with less because when you whip it, it kind of doubles the thread. It gives you a nice bolder look. So actually this would be like using 8 strands because we have the 4 and then the whipped again with the 4. This is gonna drive me crazy. Now, if you see that this right here is really smooth because I pulled it nice and straight, and this one's getting a bit sloppy, and that's okay. That's because I'm gonna pull it later when I'm all done. Okay, so you can see this side is like nice and smooth, and then this side's a little bit like it had too much to drink. That's all right. You're just gonna pull it just snugly, and I like to put my finger like that. And that gives a nice smooth look, and then you go right back down where you started because we want to have a nice point here. Okay, so now we'll do the bottom part. I also find that if you want to use bigger stitches for this, like if you have, this is just a nice gradual curve, so you don't have to use really, really tiny stitches. So I'm going about half the distance between each of these. The only bad thing about this is that you're going to use twice the amount of thread. So for a regular back stitch, you only stitch it once. With this one, you're going to use twice the amount of thread. So if you're using a gray that you're like, I don't know if I have enough, you could probably even get away with going down to like 2 or 3 strands instead of 4. Jessie's having a dream. I always wonder what they do in their dreams, you know? Me too. I think I might have to pick some up tomorrow. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter if you go up to down or down to up. You just need to do it the entire time for that section. So this one right here, I've gone down like that, you know? This time I'll go up and you can see if there's a difference. I haven't really found any, but those smooth edges though are so satisfying, like the smoothness of it and how you can't see any of the stitches. It's like my favorite thing, especially for light colored thread. If I have something that needs to be outlined in light colored. Hi, Carrie. Now I'm doing this because I don't want it to be really, really tight, but you also don't want it to be like really loose and wonky. So that's kind of, you know, up to you. So there's the top. Now my idea for this part here is to do just nice long straight lines, and let's just have a look for 1 or 2 and see if it works before I do all of them, because you might actually find out that you don't like the conflicting textures. So like I said, this one right here, because it's straight and long, you might decide actually I don't like the look of that, and therefore just whip backstitch the whole thing, you know? And there's no shame in being like, I do not like that. You know, try something else. Let's see, I don't hate it, but it's like definitely a thinner line than the top and the bottom. Sorry, the top and the bottom of the pot, which might work out well for us, but it might also look a little bit weird, like not cohesive. Let's see, what do we think? I feel like because it's nice and straight there, I'm gonna keep going. I think it looks all right. Oh, Hannah says she likes it too. The thing is that you can, a lot of times with embroidery, people want to do like the right thing, like what's the right way. And I guess technically there is a right way, but with modern embroidery, which is what I do, breathe. I'm not even stressed. Why are you telling me to breathe? My watch is like, even a minute of breathing can help you concentrate. I am concentrating. I am breathing. Veronica says, I think I will do the long straight stitches in the middle and then whipped for the outline. Ooh, that's a good point. Because the outline here might look a little bit weak if it's less strands than the top, you know? We'll just see. I want to do this one though. We'll just see how it looks. And honestly, if I finish it and I hate it, I'll just take it out. So it's not that big of a deal. All right, I don't have enough thread to whip the back of it, so I'm gonna just tie this in a knot. Trim the extra and get some more thread. Oops, 4 strands. Hello, Curious Cat. That's cute. You guys have like the most clever usernames. Why not Stitches? I just dropped my thread on the floor. It's gonna have Jessie's hairs all over it now. Thank you. So Jessie's leg is nearly healed. If you didn't know, she had these like calluses on her elbow, and then it was really dry, and then she licked it. Of course, she had to lick it. And then it became all like raw and like all the hair fell off and all this kind of stuff. So she's got a blow up donut on. It's so funny. But because she like has to wear it and she like wears it when she sleeps and everything, she's developed a snore. So now like she's laying in her bed right now and she's sleeping, but she's like snoring really, really softly. And sometimes it's really, really loud. But it cracks me up. Yeah, I talk about Jessie a lot. And hopefully by the end of February, when the Stitchalong's done, it'll be like warm and lovely. We can go outside. I think that looks nice. Let's zoom out and you can have a look. I think it looks nice. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to continue with all of this. For doggy studio helpers are the best. Definitely. Do you have a dog? I thought maybe you did, but I don't know. I think this one needs to go over a little bit too, this line. I like it too. So cool. Okay, good. So for today, we're just going to do the gray part of the coffee container. And I think we'll do the cup and the handle and the top maybe the next day, maybe tomorrow. I really don't want to put too much stitching in one day. This part is usually a darker color, but I'm worried it's going to look weird if it's black right in the middle. My pooch has a studio sleep spot too. Love it. Maybe it would look good black in the middle. My thread is revolting. Yeah, so I try not to do too much stitching in one day, even though it'll be like the same stitches. She's not having it. But tomorrow we'll learn a different stitch to fill in the handle and the knob on the top. Oh my God, she's so funny. She's like trying to get comfortable. Ooh. Yeah, be careful because you don't want to snag the things that you've already stitched. What is going on? No, I kind of wish I did it black, this part. It'll be fine. A lot of stitching is second guessing colors. Because you always think, could it look different if you did it different? You know? Like, would it really be different? Or is it just in your mind that you're like, well, what if it's this color? So there we go. So today we're going to do just this part here and then do the same thing down here. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to keep going, but if you guys want to bounce, then you totally can. I'm liking the darker gray. I was going to use the lighter at first. I actually wanted a lighter one, but they were all out of the lighter one that I wanted to use. And it was a little bit, the other option they had was a little bit brown. This line looks a little wonky, I've just done. Something out there. I do really like it, I'm not gonna lie. Not to be like, oh, I'm so great. But it just looks so nice, doesn't it? Now these here are a little bit different because it's not one line. It's all a bunch of little lines, little humps. So you want to make your stitches small enough that you're going to be able to see the arch, but not too big that, you know. So I'm going to go back and whip each one of these humps individually so I don't have to do the whole thing. And that way we can get a nice straight point for each of these as well. Minutes already. I need to sneeze. Sorry. Thank you. Bless you. Thanks, Mel. All right, almost done with this one. Feels like I've been stitching for ages, but I think it's because, oh, thank you. I think it's because I did the free stitch along first, you know? So actually we haven't even been doing this one for that long. And I'll do a little whip for this one, even though it's kind of a straight line. That way it's like the same thickness all the way through. We can do our straight lines now. Now, a good way to do this would be to lay your thread where you want it to go. If you're having a little bit of doubt of like, oh, I kind of like want to make them perfect, you know, lay your thread where you want it to go, and then you can always use that as like your template of where you're going to put your thread next. This is another one of those where I don't really want to jump around. So I'm just going to go right back up to the top, slide it through. I'm going to come over here like this. And if they look a little bit off, then they probably are a little bit off, you know? And it's okay to just take it out and do it again, you know? And we're gonna go straight over these two, so don't go around the petals. We're gonna stitch straight over top of them. That's all right. That looks all right. Sometimes you just have to take a little step back, like, is this okay? No? Yeah? No? Because I traced mine weird. Remember when I was tracing it? Let's put this one pretty deep down. Hopefully that's all right. And then I'm gonna make it up a little bit down here because I am gonna stitch over top of it, but do we think I have enough thread to go back? No. The answer is no. So just have to whip the bottom part and then do the spout, and then we'll be done for the day. Really. And I have 2 strands from the first time and 2 strands from the second time I got thread, so I can put these together and make 4 strands. So pretty. Thank you. And then tomorrow we'll do the handle, the top, and the teacup, because I really don't want to have too much stitching in one day. Like I said, like I don't want to be stressing anyone out with this or anything like that. And we are getting, normally we do 5 days of stitching for Stitchalongs, Monday to Friday, but this time it's Monday to Saturday, with Sunday being a catch-up day. I'll still do a video, but it'll just be like shorter, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and just like chat a little bit, you know? So it won't be like, you're not going to miss anything if you can't come to the Sunday one or anything like that. So don't worry. But we do have an extra, I think it turns out to be 4 days of stitching or 3 days of stitching for this one. So I'm not going to rush anything. And I want to make sure that we, one, understand how to do all the stitches, and two, we're taking our time and doing a good job. I'm just going to go back to the beginning here. I bet David's dying for some tea. Normally he has tea after his first class. I'll bring him up some. I'll be nice. Pretty sure there's a knot there. That's why it's doing that. All right, so almost done for today. I cannot wait to see your guys' mocha pots. They're gonna be so good. I actually saw like a robin's egg blue colored one, and I was like, oh my goodness. If I was like really into mocha pots, like I've never used one before, so for this one, again, it's just one stitch, but I'm going to whip it anyways so that it all looks the same. Like that. But yeah, if I was really into mocha pots, I would definitely get the teal one. It was so pretty. Okay, I think I've done it all. If you still have some lines like this one, and like here where I kind of went over, or here where I decided that this line should be over a little bit more, don't worry about that. At the very, very end, we'll take care of all of that together. So that's it for me. That's all the stitching. So don't forget to tag me at the Barmy Fox and use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL for Stitch Along. And then be sure to go like and comment on some friends' hoops. Yeah? So I hope you have a lovely Monday. It's only the first day, and I hope you enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Bye.